All right, welcome to part 2 of the notes. We are going to learn about point slope form. So this is new to you. You did not learn about this one back in junior high. This is something that is first introduced in Algebra 1. So point slope form looks different than slope intercept form. Slope intercept form, we could see the slope and the y-intercept by looking at our equation. With point slope form, you can see one of your points and the slope. And so looking at this, of course, the m is our slope. Okay, so it'll be out there as what needs to be distributed to the parentheses. And then your point is this x1, y1. Okay, so whenever we write down our point, it's going to be the opposite signs of what you see from the equation because the equation has minus signs built into it. All right, and then to find the y-intercept and the x-intercept, we've got to replace our values with a 0. So if it's a y-intercept, we're going to place the regular y with a 0, and then solve it out for x. I have a typo here. No, solve it for y. Replace x with a 0. There we go. Okay, so fix this on your paper. That should say replace x with a 0 and solve for y. And then for the x-intercept, we're going to replace y with a 0 and solve for x. All right, so let's start practicing with point slope form. So I'm going to write my point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, so starting off with slope. Here's my m outside those parentheses. So my slope is negative 1 over 2. So that tells me my line is going down 1, right 2. Now for my point. Okay, so y1 is going to be a 1, and x1 is going to be a 2. So remember, we write x first. So we're going to write 2, comma 1. Now these are positive because the formula has a minus sign, and so did both of those numbers. Okay, so it's like those minus signs cancel out. So we use a positive 2 and a positive 1 as our point. So I can go ahead and graph my line using that. I can go to 2, comma 1 and put my dot. And then I'm going to go down 1, right 2 for my next dot. And then I can keep doing that to find my next ones. To go backwards, I go up 1, left 2. Okay, and that makes all of my points. Okay, and so I can already see my graph here. Now looking at it, I can go ahead and see my y-intercept. My y-intercept is at 2, so that's 0, comma 2. And I can also already see my x-intercept, which is going to be at 4, so that's 4, comma 0. If you can't see your x-intercept and your y-intercept when you graph, remember we've got to replace with zeros. So for the y-intercept, we're replacing the x with a 0. So that would be negative 1/2, parentheses 0 minus 2. All right, so when I use the calculator, this right here turns into just a 1. So we've got y minus 1 equals 1. So I add 1 to each side, and I get y equals 2. So that's where that 2 comes from. For my x, I got to replace the y with a 0. So the x stays the same. Okay. So here, I'll have to distribute. So I've just got negative 1 equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. Subtract 1 from each side. Negative 2 equals negative 1/2 x. And then divide both sides by negative 1/2. And that gives me x equals 4. So that's where the 4 is coming from. Okay, so let's look at another. We've got y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so the first thing it asks for is the slope. So remember that's out in front of those parentheses. So our slope is positive 3/4, meaning we're going to go up 3, right 4. Okay, our x1, notice the signs are different. All right, this time it says +4, so I need to use a -4. And then for our y, notice the signs are different, so I need to make sure I use a -3 instead of a +3. Okay, so using that point, when I go to -4, -3, that's here. And then from there I can go up 3, right 4 for my slope. So 3, right 4. And this time all I can do is 3 points. So I draw my line with arrows on each end to show that it keeps going. And looking at this, we can see that both our y-intercept and our x-intercept are at the same spot. They are both 0, 0. Okay, so let's look at another. So once again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. If you're feeling comfortable, pause the video, give this one a try, and then restart it when you're ready. All right, so here's my m. I've got a -8. Remember, we can make that a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. So that means my slope is going down 8, right 1. And then for my point, my signs are the same. So that means I need to use a +1. And then these two signs are different for my y, so I need to use a -4. So I'm going to go to 1, -4 for my point. And then from there, I'm supposed to go down 8 over 1. Now, I don't have enough room to go down 8 over 1. Okay, that would be off the graph. But my line still needs to be going downhill like this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start going backwards. I'm going to go up 8 and left 1. Okay, so completely backwards. So that would put me here. Okay, and then draw my line through my 2 points. All right, so we can see the y-intercept. That's at 0, 4. I can't really see my x-intercept though. I don't know exactly what number that is, and I can't just say 1/2 just because it's in between. I need to actually solve for it. So remember, to find the x-intercept, you replace your y with a 0, and then we solve for x. So I'm going to distribute. So I get 4 equals -8x plus 8. Subtract my 8. So I get -4 equals -8x. And then divide. So it gives me x equals 1/2. So this actually worked out on this one. So it'd be 1/2, comma, 0. It's not always going to be 1/2, so make sure you check it. All right, last one. Okay, so once again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, so we can see m is -3. We make it a fraction by putting a 1 underneath, so this means I'm going down 3, right 1. My x1, my signs are different, so I'm going to use a -1. My y1 doesn't have a number, okay? So that means it must have been +0. So I'm going to use a 0 as my y1. It doesn't matter if you say +0 and -0, it's the same thing. Okay. Now I'm going to go through and graph. So I'm going to plot my point. -1, 0 is here. And then from here, I'm going down 3, right 1. And then to go backwards, I go up 3, left 1. Okay, so I can see my y-intercept, and I can see my x-intercept. So my y-intercept is 0, -3, and my x-intercept is -1, 0. All right, and then that's it for this lesson.